All right, all right, all right. It's your boy Talent. It is a Monday, so you know what that means. We in here doing our job, man. We done clocked in. We bout it. We talking to the people. We trying to keep people motivated because this is a crazy time, and it seemed to just be getting crazy and crazier. Well, we're going to touch on those things. And we got some special guests this hour stopping through to, it's Motivation Monday. So I want to start talking to people that staying motivated. They doing things. They putting things out there. They doing their part. And we're going to get to that. All right. But first and foremost, my rhetorical question, everybody, how was your weekend? Hope it was great. Don't answer me. Answer you in your own head and see what it is. So let's get this show popping and off the ground, starting off by bringing my co-host to the forefront. That's right. Talent got a co-host now. I ain't done either. Bring my co-host, Admir Silly. Clap it up for the profound, articulate member of society. His brother be doing things. You know what I'm saying? He knows stuff. Yo, you sent me that video. It was dope.
Oh, wasn't that video dope with the sister? That video was.
She broke him down. But, that whole table got so quiet, like.
But did you see him blink about 9,000 times? That's what really got me with it. He was just sitting there like.
She did her homework.
She killed him real quick.
She did her homework, fam. So this was Admir. Welcome to the show. It's official. You're my co-host. You know what I mean? I made the decision. You know what I mean? Your mother signed the petition and the permission slip, and it's over. You're on the class trip, son.
Let's do it.
This is what we're going to be doing before we tap into the subjects. Going forward, every Monday until we'll make a decision by the time we get to the holidays to go forward. But we need a female, right?
Okay.
So we want a female. I don't care if she's black or white. I don't care if she young or old. She just got to make sense and got a brain. And know what we talking about and have a POV. I want a woman with a point of view. I don't want a woman to come on here and be your yes woman or my yes woman. I want a sister, a queen that's just got her own mind and ain't scared to speak it. So going forward, I'll start inviting people out and we'll fill them out. And me and you'll sit down at the end of the day and be like, I like her, whatever the case may be. And this way we'll have a complete cast for Motivation Mondays. So it's sort of like that morning show formula, you know what I mean? And we just want to get bigger and better as we go, all right, and not just be redundant. So my co-host is Admir Silly. He's on board. Let's get right to the thick of things, man. It's a climate, Admir, where when we started, we were on lockdown.
Yes,
my brother. Everything is pointing to a second lockdown.
Yeah.
Now, that means we got to go back in our bag of tricks and start giving it to them like it's the beginning again, giving it to them like we used to say in comedy, tell it to them like they do. Because this is a motivating killer if it's not handled or attacked the right way. This could easily be that thing to break the camel's back to some people because, they was... thought they was all good. And then boom, we've been warned, but people get complacent. People get take things for granted and get a little comfortable, and because the numbers go down a little bit, oh, we got this. Nope. They told us, Dr. Fauci, all of them, Dr. Bricks, all of them said, hey, it's gonna be a second wave. Come the fall, winter, let's get ready for the second wave. And here we are, really seeing it in numbers, in daily numbers in front of our face. So this show has just gotten more important to do than it has been in months.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, I mean, you make a valid argument. You and I, like you said at the start of this pandemic, we had chopped it up about a few different things, and including exactly what you're speaking on now. And I said, I hope that during this pandemic, most people were doing the one thing that I hope that most people were doing, which was looking, inflection, taking a good hard look at who looks back at you from the mirror, and taking stock of all of your attributes, all of, amazing things that you have at your disposal. And then in some way, shape or form, trying to now bring that to the world. during this pandemic, me personally, I've just latched on to noticing that people who I saw in one light started shining in other lights that I didn't even think was possible. Not because I didn't think it was possible, I just didn't ever see them in that light prior to, like you said, this whole lockdown or this whole situation where we, had to be in our homes. So I think you're absolutely right. We all have to, really take a good hard look and say, okay, well, what are the things that, I do that even, my friends and family and, people who are close to me constantly either praise me for or give me, some acknowledgement about, and start to see what you can do with those things. It's big. That's huge right now, and especially when you go out into our city. I'm saying our city in particular. I'm sure maybe some of the other cities
Right.
are facing the same thing, but I know for New York, when you go down and you see Macy's on 34th Street boarded up, and you see Bloomingdale's on 59th Street boarded up, and certain other entities that have always been the mecca of our city, you just like, what the heck? You feel like you're almost in a movie versus real life. And to
Yeah.
your point, this is really why we've got to, get that liveliness back. We've got to get that energy back so that our city starts to still feel like it's supposed to feel, which is a city, and not,
Yeah.
so much something that's been abandoned.
I mean, I agree with it. And I'm gonna go back to an old thing I said. What's old is new now. When I say this and repeat that, we have to come out the other side better than the way we went in. Nobody went in this thing perfect. You'd be lying if you told me you did, because nobody knew it was coming. Not in the masses anyway. And don't get me wrong. Are there selective people who have kind of businesses have flourished throughout this? Of course, the Amazons, the UPSs, the FedExes, the postals, like all these places and things you find yourself doing more of, because places you would have delivered something yourself, you're not doing that. You're not visiting. So these things, these stocks are rising in these things. It makes all the sense in the world. If you got a restaurant, you're an essential person. You have food. So whether that, like somebody like me who had to the upstate in Buffalo, you had to add the element of delivery. Takeout is one thing. You might have a takeout place, but never did the delivery. Now it makes sense to do the delivery. Whatever the case may be, you want to come out the other side better than. So this show, this hour, I want us to dip in and out and tackle and combat the procrastination in all this. We all have some form of procrastination. For some people, it's a certain day. Some people, it's a certain time of year. I know people all the time that kind of get real down around the time that anniversary of a lost loved one. I don't really. I've never been that kind of dude, because then that means I got to think about it. So I'd rather not think about it, because if I think about it, you mean to tell me I'm going to make myself depressed annually?
Yeah, I've never understood that one either, but I do
I can't do it. I mean,
understand what you're saying.
I'll say, somebody will bring it up in my family. Go, oh yeah, that is this weekend. But I'm not the guy setting his watch. Yo, you're right, man. Yesterday was the day of my mom. I can't do that. I can't do that, because that's me. I done gave up already. If I done set it, if I'm doing it annually, I'm waiting to go, yo, I don't really fuck around on the 15th every year. Why?
What's so crazy? It's funny because, to your point about the procrastination, I think there's a point, a bullet point below that or above it, that you tack on fear. And I think, so many of us are in the spaces that we're in and paralyzed by fear. And fear just is the simple thoughts that we have in our own head about what we think will go wrong versus all the things that will go right. And I think that, to your point about the procrastination, you spend so much time building up these stories that they're only your story, as a matter of fact. Even if you're doing something or working on a project with somebody else, they don't even have any of that in their story. You only have it in your story. But because you have it in your story, and because you're thinking about it, like you said, on a constant basis, you then find yourself now paralyzed by it, to the point that you don't do anything to move forward. You kind of just stay stagnant,
Yeah.
and you say to yourself, as I heard you mention earlier, you start just giving random dumb excuses. You know, it was
Yeah,
raining today, so I just
we
didn't.
look for them. We look for them, bro. We look like one of the worst things about our people, man. You're right. You just said it. You hit the nail on the head when you said we look for all the things that could go wrong before we even look at what could possibly be right or the goodness in something. We do that with everything. Like when we can't get in touch with each other. This one of my pet peeves, by the way. When we can't get in touch with each other, we automatically go to the negative thoughts of why we can't reach each other. Yo, you wonder why I've never been married and I'm fucking single and be by myself? Because fucking if a woman's reaching out to you, dog, and can't get you, the bitch never thinks, well, maybe he won the lotto and he's celebrating. It's never that. It's always motherfucking ignore me. Like, yo, I'm not ignoring. How about I'm doing something right now, like positive. I'm not ignoring you. I'm not disrespecting you.
Yo, T, you absolutely right, man. I say that all the time, and I said it's so interesting because, like you said, as opposed to putting a positive spin on it, even something as simple as maybe the person is taking a nap, or maybe that, like you said, they're in their zone. Like sometimes we get in a zone. If you're a person who does anything, you have moments where you just get in a zone where everything is just clicking. And sometimes people who are part of your life aren't in that zone. So they bring something to the table, but just in that split second, it take you out of your zone, and you're like, oh,
Yeah,
messed up.
I knew I should have picked this phone up. I knew I should have answered this call. But see, that's the thing. It's like I'm trying to, and us now, because we're building this team thing, we need to redirect energies, redirect procrastination, redirecting negative over positive. We need to kind of flip that because our counterparts are already doing it. They're ahead and they're doing it. I'm gonna give
Yeah.
you one news story that's motivating to me today. When I woke up and read that this morning, those lawsuits that Trump was trying to do in 4 states all were withdrawn this morning.
Uh-huh.
So remember, he was in Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, trying to hold
Yeah.
this whole Biden thing hostage with these frivolous lawsuits that
Suits.
there was no merit, no base. So they finally withdrew. Now, do that mean tomorrow we're going to hear concession speech? Don't know. But that little bright light, I just wanted to share with the people. So now let's go on. I hope my guests are in the backstage in the green room. I want to bring on some of my co-hosts from the thing I do every Monday at 8:30, called Enough is Enough. We tackle all types of issues. This is the brainchild of comedian Sean Cornelius. It's Enough is Enough SC 2020 is the full name of it. It's myself, Sean, obviously Sean Cornelius, the brain man, and our sister, our queen, Onika McLean. If they're in there, bring them on the show. Welcome. There's Sean right there. What's up, man?
Yeah.
Sean Cornelius is in the show. What's up, bro?
Hey, what's good? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Loud
We
and
can hear
clear.
you loud and clear.
This is my brother Amir Silly. Amir, Sean, welcome to the show. The co-host, me and Amir.
Hey, how you doing, Amir?
Welcome. How you doing, brother?
How's it going? So the sister, she's late, huh?
You know what's crazy? She just called me because I saw in the text. She asked you, was it on IG? So she's lost right now.
But the link is in the thing.
I know, but right as you were introducing me, the phone rang. So this was kind of more important to come to. I just figured because I heard you say, I hope they in there.
Oh my goodness. But I put the link in the
You know how she do, man. You know how she do. I was gonna answer, but as soon as I was getting ready to do that, you made the intro.
That is hilarious right there, bro. That is hilarious, yo.
At least she's consistent, brother.
Look, you know what's going on too for all of us. Technology, to you guys' point about doing something new and finding new ways to do things. Technology is messing some of us up. We are so far behind. We can't figure this stuff out. You looking at your phone, you looking at your laptop or whatever you. How do I look with them?
I feel bad too because I was gonna get her, but
well, you know what?
Having one person in.
I'm gonna let you pop out, tell her what's going on, and come back in. But at least you put a positive spin on it. He said,
Yeah.
at least he consistent.
Yeah.
All right, I'm
So
gonna
pop out, tell her, and then both of y'all come back.
all right, okay. Gotcha.
All right, we'll see you in a
And
minute.
I'm gonna tell my super producer when they come back in, just let us know. We bring them right back in. That's funny because right after I said we got to change the spin, that was right up the alley. He was like, "Well, at least she consistent."
But
Yeah,
you know,
she messing up, but
yeah. But you know, what's so crazy. And it's funny that we utilize, or you utilize the idea of positivity. So much of what people are trying to do, and especially because it's a Motivation Monday, the groundwork for a lot of this is really in your mental. The physical,
I agree.
popping on lives and doing the physical work to do whatever ideas come into your mind.
Right.
You can handle that part. The tough part really is doing the mental work. And the mental work is the most important part, because in a real sense, that's really not only what sets the tone, but it also creates the frequency for whatever it is you're trying to create. A lot of us, don't necessarily understand that, or we do understand it, but we become afraid of it. Meaning, you've been in situations where you might have thought something and it happened instantaneously and it scared you. But that's to show you how powerful your mind and how powerful your thoughts really are, and how much, once you send them into the universe or your higher power, higher being, be it God or whatever, it comes back. And if more of us really had a stronger understanding of that concept and worked on that concept, a lot of the things that we'd be creating would be coming to us so effortlessly and so easily that it would just bug us out. Like, we'd be like, oh snap, you know what I mean? And it goes back to what I was saying a little while ago about being in the zone. All the zone is you on, vibrating on your highest frequency that you can vibrate on, that allows the universe to then, on cue, bring those things into your life and into your, existence that you've been asking for.
You tapped into it. Yeah, you tapped into it.
So if more of us at least understood that part of the process, it would allow people to, really get into the things that they supposedly are either afraid of, or, as you said earlier, procrastinate about. That would all go away, because it would become like second nature, become like breathing, it become like blinking. You wouldn't even think about it. I'll give an example with you. Prior to doing these lives with you, I always thought that the stuff that I said only made sense to the people literally within my circle. So my friends, my family, people closest to me. And that's not as God truth, but that's because, they love me. And I'm thinking to myself, people who love you will technically always try to, hopefully lift you up, or, make you feel good about things.
You're black. No,
you're black. Yeah. No. But when you, get outside of, your normal comfort zone, you start to wonder, or you think to yourself, do I still keep that same energy, or do people still keep that same energy where I'm concerned? And I found that, now having done these lives with you and, having done our shows, that energy is the same. But so it gave me confidence, and it allowed me to
that's going down the right alley. We're dealing with positivity. We're taking it in the right direction. Now let's try this thing again. First of all, I love having you. Like, we could talk for days, because first of all, you got a brain. Like, when the person has opinions and ideas, you want to be around other people with brain power as well. Then you can ping longer. You ever talk to somebody that they ain't on that same wavelength, don't have that brain power? That's a short ass conversation. So let's just keep it 100. Let's bring our guests back in. Sean C. Come on in, Sean Cornelius. Come on in, Onika McLean.
Yes. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Thank you, Tom.
These are my folks right here. Hey, Sean, you don't want to turn your phone sideways? You like looking like that?
Well, I see me fine. I look up to you, brother. It looks messed up to you.
There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, I see. You didn't want to see that junky room. Ooh, that's what it was. Look at all that.
I'm in my playpen right now, man.
Hey, tell me, everybody, real quick. Tell me I'm not the only one that's seen that video with the dude dancing and singing in the kitchen, And the roach.
Yo, and the roach on the thing. Yeah.
And the roach
I don't know.
yeah, I saw it.
That was hilarious, yo.
Yo.
That was good. I like that. That brightened up my morning. That went with my coffee this morning perfectly,
All right.
dude. I'm sitting there.
Let me change it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Motivating Monday. Today I have the honor of having two esteemed guests on the same time with me and Admir that are part of a big show. We got the mastermind himself, and we got the the craziest, wildest queen of England, United States, and Australia. My friend Onika McLean, Sean Cornelius from Enough is Enough SC 2020. Welcome to Motivation Monday, guys.
Thank you for having us. Thank you,
Well,
guys.
listen, we love your energies, and I have to have you
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Oh, no doubt. You
I
guys
spoke for
gotta
both of
understand.
us.
So sometimes I was just saying before at the top of the show, we came up with a lot of this stuff because we were all locked down. We were in a pandemic. We're still in a pandemic, but we were in that lockdown quarantine phase. And the people, it's the first time in our lifetime that we, experienced this. And people start to get creative. Now we're on the plus side, because on the negative side of things, it shut a lot of people down. They didn't know what to do with themselves. They fall into deep depressions, get stressed out. They're on meds, all types of physical ailments wrong now because of the stress. Stress does that. First question is, where do we tell us about Enough is Enough, Sean? And then both of you guys tell us about keeping on. Like, what drives you? What makes you keep going on, even though this is a time that says shut down? It could shut you down.
Well, Enough is Enough came from a frustration. It really did come from a frustration. I was just tired of hearing on the news about my people being slaughtered by the cops, and just a lot of the ignorance going on out here in society. And not just the cops, but the black on black stuff and the killing of our own people. So I just decided to instead of just keep being frustrated about it, raise my voice and try to help others that wanted to speak out. So I just, growing up back in the day when your parents got tired of, look, all right, enough is enough. It was just, I didn't create that, but it fit very well with what was going on today. Like, got very of what's going on, man. So I decided to do something about it. I wrote a song about it, and put it on social media and YouTube and all those things, and just trying to do my part. And it just kind of picked up, and then I revamped it in 2020 after George Floyd's murder, and then other people just joined in, man. And I started getting some celebrity help. I mean, you yourself chimed in with me, and just to continue to spread the message and join, man, because it really is enough, basically.
Well, it's actually a dope platform, and I myself is very happy that you tapped into me. And as soon as you said, "Hey, maybe we get a female," when we discussed that, I said, "Oh, I know the pardon the expression. I know the mouth we need on this." Onika, how do you do it, man? Your energy, like, for real. If we wasn't living this, you could not tell. Anytime people see you on social media, your shows, you would not know that the world is in the state it's in. Your energy's impeccable. How do you keep that going?
I don't know. I don't know why. Meditation. Meditation is something that I've been doing for a very long time, and it kind of just centers me. And sometimes I have to do crazy stuff like breathing exercises or just curse Sean ass out. But whatever it is that centers me, I tell.
I mean, that's really amazing thing right there. I don't know if you met Admir on my shows yet. This is Admir City, Onika, and you already met Sean. So, Admir, what do you get? Because you've been on with us and checked out an episode of Enough is Enough. Do you think it's too much? Do you think it's not enough? Like, what do you think about it?
No, I think the show and the platform is actually perfect, like you said, for this particular time. There are so many powerful voices, in so many spaces, and most of us are afraid to voice our opinions for fear that one, there be some repercussions that we're not necessarily ready to deal with. And secondly, everybody's just, like we'll do it in smaller groups. So you might be around your family and say certain things, or you might be around your friends and y'all will share certain ideologies. But then we haven't done it on a larger scale yet, where we need to do it, because on larger scales, then people can take some of the information that's being divulged and now put it in their backpack for somewhere down the line if
Right.
they find themselves in certain spaces. So I think, the show that you guys have and the idea is actually paramount, and especially in this particular climate with all the, odd things going on in the world.
And
So
that's a good point you make, Amir, about we dealing with it, but we're dealing with smaller groups and stuff. Because when Sean actually goes on, Onika introduces the show, and we have that moment where we take a moment at the top of the show for everybody to share it. So me alone, we're on over a dozen Facebook platforms streaming it as we do it. You know what I mean? Because I'm sitting here when I go, I share it on 8 of my 10. You know what I mean? And then Sean got his, Onika got hers, and stuff like that. So I really appreciate the platform. I love where it's going. It always has a fresh direction. You know what I mean? If that means something. And Sean does his, behind the scenes work of getting some great people involved. So I do like that. What do you see, Sean, going forward? Because all this stuff is really under the umbrella of content. So what do you see with this content going forward, or what would you like to see?
Right.
I think is
Well, matter of fact, I was just talking with Onika. We talk every to. Okay, am I good?
yeah.
yes.
I always have.
Well, first we're gonna try to figure out his Wi-Fi situation, and after we do that, sky's the limit.
You know,
Like just sky's the limit. I know because I prayed about it, and I said,
listen.
The woman
I don't know why it's just me. It's always me, always me.
who the hell prays about Wi-Fi?
But I don't know.
but after that,
I don't know if I'm.
once we get him a ring light, and we get him like some real good Wi-Fi.
I already got a ring light. I already got a ring
We're
light.
gonna get a network show because I mean it's gonna be a lot. Like my ass is gonna go back. Like it's Amir. We have to take off. I'm just telling you, take off. 2 minutes. I'm sorry.
See, instead of lifting me up, you want to tear me down. See how that goes?
Too happy to lift up. He's too happy.
Listen. I think it's you. I think you set me up every week. Every week.
I've never been in your house. I don't know where the hell
You probably set me up just to have this. Now, can I at least talk while I have the Wi-Fi together? Give me a minute. Nah, man. I just hope we can do what we set out to do, man, is spread the word and have these dialogues where everybody, because we're still going through stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Here comes the COVID again, and we've been talking about it every week. And the election stuff. It's like we already know. We have an idea. We want to be optimistic about things, but every time you try to be optimistic about certain things, living, there's always something that's going to try to smack you and just knock you down. We got to just try to stay positive. T, you and I talked about not getting complacent and stopping the conversation, because it's so easy to do that when we think, okay, it's good now, or it's settled down now, we're all right. But we can't have that attitude. So we got to continue to keep pounding the messages and pounding the message, and maybe that'll do something for it. So hopefully we can get to another platform, a higher platform where it can make a difference.
Sounds good to me. So Onika, and speaking of that, Onika, we were trying to get people to think in reverse, because we have this tendency to think negative before positive. And in the motivation sense, we want people to go positive before the negative. You get a lot more done that way. Speaking of getting things done, on the levels, the spectrum 1 to 10, Onika, of procrastination, where would you put yourself?
8.
Really?
Because there's so many things that I know that I am equipped to do, and I start them, and then I get like another idea, and then I do that, and then I do that. I got like ADD, I think, and I need to just slow myself down. If I could slow down, then it's procrastination, because you need to finish what you start,
Yeah.
so I would give myself an 8. And that's probably bad, but your level has to be what your abilities are, right?
And
So
that might be high, but you know what's good about that is that you gave yourself that 8.
mhm,
And
Yeah.
me, when I was about to say this, when I was diagnosed,
mhm,
when when the psychic when the psychic told my ass, and
mhm.
this is a psychic that's doing all this shit, like, oh, you gotta stop procrastinating. So I said to myself, like, oh, who this chick thinks she is? Ain't nobody fucking procrastinating. That's what I was saying.
Mhm.
But when I drove home and it's just me, because we got to keep it real with you, right? I'm in
Yep.
the car and it's just me. I'm like, hey, I do be bullshit.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So, so you were better than me because you could recognize it. I didn't see the forest through the trees until after the fact when I put it under the lens. It was like, okay, lady got a point or whatever case may be. So you're in a better place than me. But in actuality, like when she said it, I'm like nil, maybe a -1 or whatever. But in reality, I was like you. I was an 8, but I couldn't see it. Amir, where you put yourself?
I'm actually higher than both of y'all. I'm like a 9, 9.5. Quiet as is kept, and that's more so because of
That's the
fear.
problem. Quiet as kept.
Well, but
And he want to try to beat somebody on procrastination.
no, no,
What
no.
procrastination do? First of all, this is self-diagnosis. This is self-analysis. It's not higher than us. It's okay.
But I find myself, to the same point Onika made. I'll start things, and my mind is constantly thinking of, like you said, something new, and before I know it, I haven't finished one thing before I start on the next. And I think that's a microcosm of us as a collective. My mom used to always say this when I was a kid. She's like, "We're great at starting stuff. Finishing, not so good, but starting, we the best at that." And I tend to look at us, and I feel like as a collective, that's really the truth. I have so many friends who have 9 million things that they're doing. Not one is done well, but they got 9 million things that they're doing. I'm like, can we get one of these good, and then we start. And that seems to be one of those odd things that, like I said, as a collective. But I know myself personally, mine's is fairly high, and that's something that I'm truly looking at myself and working on, because we got to get out of this rut. This is for the
That's a good
birds.
point.
And
That's a
it's
good
the
point.
art of saying no, though. It's the art of saying no, right?
Yeah.
Because what happens is oftentimes so many people see your potential and then they start adding stuff on, and you're like, okay, I think I can. But at the end of the day, can you?
Yeah.
Jack of all trade, master of none, and that's always an issue, right?
That's interesting. Sean, where you put yourself? See yourself.
I gotta honestly say a 5 now, but it was higher before. But there were certain situations in my life that happened that caused me to stop procrastinating. When you have
Mm.
certain situations that open your eyes and say, "Listen, you better stop playing games." Again, here comes life. You don't know how much time you have. Here comes the pandemic. Who in January thought that we'd be dealing with this?
True.
Last year, who knew what was going to be going on? So this is another thing that caused my level to drop lower, because it's like, yo, man, you better make some moves, or you like you said, you start things. My goal is always to finish. Last year decided to do a film, and my goal was to finish it. I just asked God, please let me finish it. Give me the opportunity, because that was my goal. On top of things, on top of things, on top of things, and then seeing other people's lives and comparing my life to other people's lives, and you're not knowing what's going on. So I give myself a 5 now, but before I was just as high as everybody else. But life circumstances hopefully cause you to drop that number lower.
That's very interesting. So, question for you guys. Um, so tonight at 8:30, Enough is Enough. SC 2020 comes on for an hour. And what are the topics that you're touching on tonight?
We're going to start off by discussing, obviously, the present COVID situation, and
Mhm.
how we need to continue to, enlighten everybody, enlighten all of us, and stop playing games. This is not a fake deal right here going on. And then Onika, we're jumping into.
Cancel culture, right? We're just going to want to talk about the topics that we discussed. Like, how does that impact us as a community, and then as artists, like the things that we get to talk about, is that something that's going to later on cancel us? We just want to just talk about that and the culture of that, like when people just shut you down, they're like, oh, R. Kelly, no more music, oh, this person, no more that. So the separation of the art and the artist, we're just going to get into that a little bit more.
I would
As
love to
comedians,
cancel the
we
cancel culture.
exposed, right? We exposed because the things that we say out of our mouths sometimes is just unjust. You can't take them back.
Totally. We're part of that cancel
I would
culture.
love to cancel the cancel culture because I think that you know what it is. It happens a lot though. We have these good ideas that when we put the pedal to the metal, like we put it to the floor, it just goes too far too fast and then it's out of control. I thought when it started, I thought it was a great idea to hold people accountable for certain things, but in the same token, not just it became this hater vehicle. Like I'm gonna dig 30 years back to find something on Sean C.
Yeah.
Sean C is, and the funny thing is, you notice nobody's getting canceled that ain't famous or something. Like you're not grabbing the guy at the deli who keeps saying, "Hey, my nigga," you know.
And then taking his job is true, right?
No, you're going after. So that's why I said it's seemingly turned into this culture of hate now because you're going, yeah, you're going specifically after certain targets for certain. Come on, like we can't keep going way back in the past to make it current and apply that because truth be told, we all got shit in our past. We all lived through different times where different things were allowed or not allowed. Like so, now that we're coming into this new time, give people time to adjust.
And people got to change, right? People get to change, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't go from the first grade to the sixth grade ever. You got to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk
Right,
about
like you said, yeah, we're gonna get in that because it's holding people accountable for things that you did at 20, when you're in your 40s and or whatever, man. So I had a
I think
friend.
they're already accountable. I think the fact that they don't do that shit no more, I think they're accountable.
Basically,
I think they get it. Anyway, I appreciate you guys popping in. Everybody, 8:30 tonight and every Monday. Check out my team, Monica McLean, Sean Cornelius. It's Enough is Enough, SC 2020. Follow our Facebook pages. They're under our names because we will be sharing it tonight at 8:30. Thank you guys, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, T. Thanks a lot.
Love is love.
All right, Admir.
Right, love is love. Man. Another Motivation Monday.
Monday, yeah. No, yeah, that's dope. Okay,
you check your mail. Yours should be in the mail probably tomorrow.
Okay. It's funny, just talking about the, cancel culture thing. And I think that, to the point that you guys are making, there's a cancel culture and then there's just, like you said, holding people accountable. And I think the problem is we live in a world where people are going with the cancel culture versus just holding people accountable.
Right.
We've got to, make clear lines about which is which. Or we should make clear lines about which is which, because even, over the last few days, I told you, all I do, I get online and I watch things that motivate me. And that could be, like I said, anything. But yesterday, and I'll send it to you when I get a moment, but somebody had sent me, or I saw on somebody's page, it was like 13 minutes. And it was every rapper in the world you could think of. Like now.
I love yo, right.
It had Melly Mel, it had Grandmaster Caz, it had Memphis Bleak, it had all of these people who I haven't seen in some time. And I was like, but it was current because I know they mentioned wearing a mask and they mentioned the current state of the world. And I watched it and I was impressed because I was like, for all of us who are older and pay attention to, what format some of rap music is in now, we're a little disturbed by it. We don't hate it, but we're disturbed by it because we came from an era where lyrics mattered, the beats and rhymes, mattered. And like I said, I tell people, I don't hate what's going on now. This just isn't my form of hip hop.
Ain't my bag.
Different format. You know what I mean? So for the kids who this is their format, to them, it's everything. I get that because we were at some point to the hip, the hop to the hippie, and if you were to take that and put it up against Rakim, you like, yeah, that's not going to work. That's a bad combination there. So I try to, as Onika said, we've got to make those adjustments. And I think that, you know, that's something else that we've got to work on.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
You know,
let's bring in our next guest. We're gonna keep talking about this.
yes.
Comedian Fig is in the studio. Bring him up. Bring
Yes.
him on. Bring him out. Bring him out.
There.
What's going on, Fig? Good to
I'm
see you,
chilling,
sir.
man. How you, man?
I'm good, brother.
Man,
Good to see you as
the
always.
conversation. Yeah, I was listening to Sean and Anika, and I was looking at Sean. I was like, "Yo, man, is he doing the remake of Top Gun?"
Yeah, I was crying when she hit him with she said, "We gotta get him a ring light." And I was like, and he was like, "I have one." I was like, "But what you got yours on, dark? Like, sir, you gotta turn it on." Like,
He bought it and didn't turn it on.
it's like, "Sir, get that light going. We need to see you, sir. Come on, work with us." You look, us dark skin brothers being dark this week.
Nigga bought the ring light and said, "Oh, turn it around on me."
Yeah, he said the light needs to face you.
Hey, yo, hey, Fig, you talking about, he said the Top Gun. It's like, I thought it was Showing Up, Last Dragon. So, welcome
He
to the
looked
show,
like
my
the
brother.
fly, like a human version of the fly.
Welcome to the show. This is Comedian Fig. We got a new project that Fig has that is super producing, and we want to get to it in a minute. But let's finish this little topic right here for the next 7-8 minutes. The cancel culture. You said something interesting, Admir. See, my thing is, I think that again, a lot of these things that we end up not liking start off with promise, and somewhere they lose their way because of a lot of it's ulterior motive, and some of it is just plain out, I want to bring you down, hatred. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so
Yes.
My thing is this: cancel culture is cool. If that's going to be the new culture, then cool. Judge it, and repercussions should be in this climate and culture. Not digging stuff back from 3 decades ago to make somebody look or whatever. We've all, I guarantee you, and it's going to come back to bite the young people in the ass because you're looking at it this way because you haven't lived yet. You're in your 20s or 30s. You still got 20, 30 more years before you look back at the shit you do.
Right.
I got to stop playing Cowboys and Indians. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's always funny because, again, to the point that, both you gentlemen are making, we don't, like, even in the moment, you ever do something in the moment that you know is fucking wrong and messed up, and in that moment you're like, damn, but you can't stop it, you can't shut it down, it's too late. So you're like, look, I'm just have to go with this right now, and I'll figure out how to, fix it later,
right,
if you can possibly fix it. That these things happen. I always say, especially, y'all talk on sports every day, and I always tell people, I say, you got to look at it like, even for these sports guys, if you're 20-something years old and you have a ton of money or, resources at your disposal, you're going to make some stupid ass decisions. Just goes with the territory. That there's no two ways about that. I remember Malik used to share this with me, and I'll never forget this. And I still actually have the leather jacket here in the house right now. He said when he first got on Indiana, Vern Fleming had, was telling them, giving him some, advice. He said, look, young fella, one of the things that you want to do is you go out, to these different cities, you buy yourself, certain clothes so that this way, when you have events, you can look like something. If y'all remember Vern Fleming, Vern Fleming was one of those kind of suave, smooth guys. So Malik had bought this purple and brown leather jacket that has a 21 on the back, has his number on the back. And I kept it because, like I said, it was my brother's. Now it's too big for me because Malik is 6'8", I'm freaking 6'2". But I keep it because of, what he shared with me about that. But to that point, that's what's missing. I always say part of our issue now as a culture is the young people don't necessarily seemingly want to listen to us. And we're technically, to some degree, afraid to speak to them. So it's a weird, dynamic, and because we have that interesting bridge, it messes up, how we're able to bring things together. And I think if we, as a collective had a better, there was a better way, and young people, kind of said, well, Dad, these gentlemen in their 50s. Yeah, son, I'm where you're trying to get to. Quiet as it's kept. You look, so many of y'all are leaving us at 20 and 30 and this and that and the third. When you make it to 50, that's saying something. It just is. You can be mad all you want.
I'm different than that. I'm not scared of these kids. Like, I got kids in college right now. I got the youngin coming up, 13, 14. Let me explain something to you. My grandfather was an asshole. He was very great man, very productive, very profound, a war veteran and all that. But he was an asshole, and he used his assholeness in raising us to make us better men in the family. And I do the same thing with my kid. My daughter, who's in college, who just started this year, you can't tell her she don't know everything about the world right now. That little chick, you ain't lived yet, motherfucker. You ain't lived. You ain't did shit yet. So I fucking prod her on purpose because she's gonna come back with that politically correct, daddy, you can't do that, and this is inappropriate. Bitch, go to school.
You know what's funny about cancel culture is like you said, Talent, when you're talking about reaching back, you can't. Here's the thing. 20 years ago, it don't fit in today's society. 20 years ago, we was listening to cassettes. We was wearing different clothes. The cars were different. Technology was different. We didn't even have the quality of cell phones that we have now. You can't. This cancel culture is crazy. It's almost like taking a time machine, going back to somebody's past, and trying to make it fit and trying to bring it into today's society with today's rules and regulations. You can't do that. And put it to you this way. If you're going to judge a man on what he did 20 years ago today, then what you're judging is a retard. Because if he's the same person today that he was 20 years ago, that means he never progressed, he never grew, and he never matured. So you can't judge him today, because if he's the same person, he's retarded. And you need to treat him as he got like special needs. So you don't do that. And unfortunately, what people do is, like Talent said, they do that to bring you forward. You know what I mean? So they can say, well, you did that 20 years ago. I say, but I didn't do that 20 years ago. That person did that 20 years ago. That ain't me. I'm not the same person I was 20 years ago.
My daughter just texted me and said it's inappropriate. You can't say retarded.
Hilarious. That's hilarious. But that's my generation.
But she really would. She really would. Let me tell you something. My daughter, I don't know if y'all watched The Chi, right? The show The Chi. So do you remember, like, they have this trailer that runs advertising for The Chi in between shows when you watch, what is it, Showtime, HBO, whatever. So when you're watching other stuff, they play the thing to remind you to watch The Chi. So as a part, when it goes off, they're all at the wedding, and the photographer's taking a picture of all the girls in the wedding, and everybody's sitting there posing, and the photographer goes, all right, smile, girl, smile. And the girl goes, like one of the main character girl goes, don't tell girls to smile. And everybody, starts laughing, and that's the end of the trailer. I thought it was a joke because everybody started laughing, whatever. Till I'm driving this little chick to college, and something happened where I repeated it, and she goes, no, yeah, don't tell girls to smile. I said, what? I'm like, I'm telling her mom is driving. I'm like, that's a thing, for real, for real. We're not supposed to tell women to smile no more. So I get into this whole thing, this 2-hour ride in the car on the way to Springfield with this little girl. Oh, because of this, because of that. I'm sitting there like, you will pull your brain out because they haven't lived yet. And they got all of these answers and all of these scenarios. And I'm like, yo, how do you take something so light and insignificant and make it about this one thing that's so end of the world-ish? You know what I mean? Like, she's like, no, because when a man tells a woman, I said, yo, do you understand how many incidents and scenarios I could put that with where it makes the most sense and it's not sexist at all.
Right.
And then what you got to take into consideration, I tell her because she's a young woman and I'm trying to help you prepare because you ain't lived yet. I have. I'm trying to help you. You got to understand that by nature, God made men and women. It's natural for them to have a certain sort of kinetic attraction to each other. That's a natural thing. It's not a bad thing. Everything's not disrespect. Everything is not, he want to rape you. Everything is not. And I need you to understand that to navigate through this world that's built up with men and women.
Right.
It's a natural component in there that's going to reflect in exchanges sometimes. And it's not a disrespect.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And you got to stop telling, because these are the same young ladies that want to run through a world where they say that, what I just said, but at the same token, they will get mad at you if you tell them, yo, tone down your dressing a little bit. This is why you're getting this response and these people coming at you a certain way and calling you out of your name and character. Your clothes is a little provocative. You're inviting that. And they will get mad at you and tell you, no, I can wear what the hell I want. Yeah, you can. Then expect what the hell's going to be coming at you.
Some repercussions.
You know who wrapped that up with a nice little bow? Dave Chappelle. He was doing this comedy thing and he was like, talking about how women dress. He was like, wow, you dress just like a whore. You know what I mean? She said, well, how can you just look at me and say, I dress like a whore because of what I got on? He said, look, if I'm walking down the street and I see a guy and he got on a police uniform, I'm like, yo, he's a cop. I mean, your clothes actually say something about who you are. It's like a uniform.
The only thing better than that, I would have said, he said, how you going to tell me I look like a, well, because I just spent $50 with that lady over there. And she's dressed exactly.
Yo, T, when you're doing say you can't tell girls to smile, I was like, ooh, you never gonna be a model.
Yo, right. But I try to explain to her, and I gave her a couple of scenarios or whatever. But again, at this age, at that 18, and with this cancel culture and this inappropriate this and that, and they're thinking they're correcting the world as it is, right?
Right.
In real time. So you can't tell them, but you can't correct something you haven't lived through.
Right.
So I drop my jewels, I do my daddy thing, and then I fall back because even though I'm only going to give you so much because you need to bump your head on your own a few times. That's
yes, sir.
My grandparents did it. My parents did it. Their grandparents did it. Their parents did. Like, it's just the way that it goes when you fall out the nest. Remember that cartoon where they couldn't get that big ass bird out that damn nest? Oh,
yep.
Yo, T, I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee.
Speaking of cartoons, real quick, this is a great transition because the reason we got comedian Fig on. Fig, you know him from the box seats every day at 1 o'clock with myself, the Humor Mill TV. You know him as a well-known comedian. Commercial. This dude did more commercials than shit. He probably in the top 10 commercial dude. So he's a comedian that's very progressive and very successful. And now the new project, we're bringing back something that we did. I'm glad he tapped me in to be the host of it. It's called the Disc Kings.
Yes,
Tell
sir.
us about the Disc Kings, Fig.
Well, the Disc Kings is like, the art form, man. It's how we grew up in the schoolyard, talking about each other. Your mama this, your father that. Look at your sneakers. Look at that raggedy ass, that raggedy ass shirt you got on. Where you get that hat? It's that, the schoolyard. And I mean, we've seen a few versions of it, people trying to do it and put their spin on it. But, nobody ever does it like the original. And we feel like, it's time for this next generation to see where all of this stuff that you guys are looking at now, we want you to see where it came from. And, we came up with this idea, let's bring it back. Let's bring back the Disc Kings. Let's take it across this time. Let's take it across the country and put it against like city against city. You know what I mean? Like Detroit against New York, New York against LA, you know, Philly, Jersey. It's just a new spin on an old art form.
Right.
And the thing about it is that because of COVID, we decided to animate it. You know what I mean? Since people won't
really?
get out, if we animate it, then everybody could do things, you know, safe, basically. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that's the way we're
now
going
you
to
know
do it.
it's a viable market out there. The reason I know this to be true is not just because I'm a part of it and we did it before several times, but when these old clips, because you know everything old is new now, these old clips resurface on the internet of Snaps. When we did HBO Snaps and Uptown Comedy Club, the end of the show when we were Snap Battle. So these clips had resurfaced about going on 2-3 years ago, and people would see them, and once they put together who's in it, they start forwarding them, tagging you in them. When I go on to YouTube and all that, it's up to millions and millions of people
Yeah.
resharing and watching this thing. So that means the market is there. And their energy when they talking, yo, when did y'all do this? This was crazy. Yo, this was funny. And you said that. And he said that. It's there. It's still there. They're still ready. Your audience is still ready.
Yeah, man. And you know, look, what's funny it's kind of crazy. I always say what's funny is funny, and funny stands the test of time. You know what I mean? You can't date funny. Funny, it just is. How many look, you can put on a Richard Pryor, you know, album and listen to it. It's still funny. Some of the jokes, Red Fox, just funny is funny. It does. Funny stands the test of time. It's not that we're going to do the same material, but the art form itself is like Talent said, is valuable. The funny thing about it is, I don't care what kind of show we ever did and how hot it was. If we did the battle after the show, that was the best part of the show. Everybody remembers the battle. I don't care how hot the show is. Yo, everybody could have blew the stage up, got a standing ovation. If we did a battle after, people gonna remember that battle. And that was like the hottest part, you know, of what it is that we did back in the day. And we did it for fun. You know what I mean? Like Talent, I was talking about today, we'd be on a road trip and all of the comedians would jump in the van to go to another city and stuff like that. As soon as that sliding door closed, your mother this, your father that, look at you. I can't believe that you wore this and stuff like that. We'd be snapping on each other the whole trip.
Now let me say this. This is how much we snap, Admir. So Fig and I, we become somehow the poster kids for this thing. This was Monterey Ivy and Stefan DeWick's baby. And when they put it out, when it went from the Uptown to Snaps, they put out, I think we did 4 books, if I'm not mistaken, 4 or 5 books.
Yeah.
We did a comedy album, right? Now, picture this. When you brought it up earlier at the other interview, Fig, I said to myself, it made me think like, damn, they disrespected us. We didn't know. We just happy to be a part of something big. So Fig and I, the only two they flew to LA, right? They fly us to LA. They basically stick me and him in the studio for the whole damn day. They revolving door all the comedians in the West Coast. Coolio was in there. We kicked everybody ass in the course of the days that we in there. But it's just us two. We get to go nowhere. But they keep freshening up. We know what Territory, Carlos Mencia, Hope Flood, Ricky Harris, God bless the dead. Coolio, dude. It just kept going. Like, yo,
Guy T, Faison.
Wow.
Remember Anthony Johnson?
Yep, Freeze Love.
Remember the running joke was, hit that nigga AJ.
Yo, let me tell you something, man. So when I look back at it, when you brought it up, I'm like, damn, that was disrespectful. Like, but everybody was part of this project. You're talking about Biz Markie. Cortez was alive.
Yes.
You know, you had all of these snappers that was getting Tracy Moore. Everybody was just on the joint.
The Lords of the Underground was in the studio with us.
Yep. Matter of fact, that was when me and Tracy had beef. Because we were snapping. I don't know if you remember. We're in the studio in the city, and
I remember your Talent? Let me just tell you this. I'm gonna let you tell the story. That is the funniest clip on the whole goddamn album. You and Tracy going back and forth?
But hold up though. But bust how it happened. This is a very funny story because they put us in the studio, Amir. And one thing about, because he said, going back to the essence and snapping, it's a natural art form. So when they put us in the studio, like, all right, go ahead. It didn't work. They were like, damn, we're not getting no good stuff. You know, we know these dudes are better. So they got real smart. Monty and them was so smart. They was like, yo, we're going to take a break. We got to change some mic stuff, whatever. We ordered some pizza, whatever. What they had did was realized we needed to be in a natural form. So when we came out in the lobby part, so to speak, to eat the pizza, they had mic'd out there. So we went ham out there. So all this was good stuff. The shit in the actual studio, like, can't use none of this shit. So they mic'd out here. So we started going. Now, the reason I stopped snapping over the years as much is because people are going to want to fight. I'm really good, and I'm going to hurt your feelings. You're going to want to fight. I'm going to lose a friend. You know what I mean? Like, one of these things is going to happen. So, sure enough, we snapping, killing Trey, lighting his ass up. So he goes, he said, fuck it, I'm going to go personal. I'm hitting below the belt. What about your kids? I'm like, oh, no, yeah, what about my kids? He's like, you don't give a fuck about your kids. That's why you got it out for your kids. Yo, I just lost it. Like, yo, dude, stop talking about my kids. Next thing I know, I'm choking them. They break it up. They split us up. But for a long time, you know, me and him had that animosity. So every time we're in the same comedy room, Sugar Shack, in the Bronx or something, and we just had that thickness in the air. You know what I mean? And then one day, I forgot where we was. I think it was Sue's Rendezvous or something. And me and him we brothers, man. We blah, blah. And we just squashed it and been back on track where we originally were. But this gives you an idea of how serious the snapping thing was. Now, this Kings is rebirthing of all that, bringing it back to the real, bringing it back to the essence. We're already going to be starting doing now. Fig, this is going to be on Comedy Hype.
Comedy Hype, yeah, that's where we're going to start it out with Comedy Hype. But the good thing about it is we see what how Comedy Hype wants to get down. I mean, they interested, but we don't know how interested, and we still own the rights to it just in case, you know, somebody else comes along that likes it more than Comedy Hype.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to it, my brother. You're the best that ever did it. I love you with the production hat on, fam. You're killing it. 1 o'clock every day on the box seats. That's the homie right there, Comedian Fig. Thanks for popping in, baby.
Yes.
Love you guys, man. Amir, thank you for tuning in to the box seats, man. I see you every day, man.
Hey, yo, I'm telling you, I told Talent, I absolutely love the show. Like, even if y'all don't have, you know, people on there, first of all, the way that y'all bounce off of each other, I think is incredible. But then the fact that y'all make up jokes within the jokes, with somebody uses a big word, and y'all like, the word of the day. Yo, when I tell you, I be at work, I be trying to keep my composure because sometimes I'm at work and I be at the job dying. They like, Amir, what you looking at? I said, y'all wouldn't understand. Y'all be ready. So, this is family here and they just having a good time.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Fig. I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you guys, man.
Salute, baby. Next time.
Salute,
we're gonna take tomorrow off with the thing because Frank has a big doctor appointment, but we'll come right back Wednesday. It's called Box Seats. Again, another one that I stream on all my Facebook pages. So if you tune on to my Facebook pages, you'll see it. Amir is always in there having a good time. Amir, this has been a super packed show.
Yes. Wonderful.
Only thing I forgot, I wanted to get his procrastination level. I forgot to ask.
Okay.
But it's all good.
You know, it's so funny though. Even with you know, talking about, you know, obviously this new show. I don't know if you remember. You remember the first time you came to LA, and we were snapping in Malik's crib when he lived out. By what you call it, and that was all day, every day. That's all y'all did. Y'all woke up every day, and it was the minute I was like, oh Lord, cat's trying to creep into the kitchen. Niggas heard that fridge. Somebody's getting snapped on. It's on and popping. It was that. It was that and pool. That and playing pool. We didn't all day, every day. Nobody cared.
That's a fact, dude. The funniest thing I remember, my favorite story of the cribs in LA at your brother's crib was you know, I'm green, I'm new there. I just got my place in Marina Del Rey and all that. So I'm gonna be there for a minute, you know, got the development deals popping. And I was so happy because I'm like, thank God, some people from back home who we can be around and be cool. Like, cause you know how it is, you know,
Yeah.
people are different in certain places. So I was like, I felt at home, everything was good. So he threw a party one night. I go over there to one of the parties one night. These two chicks, they eyeing me. I'm like, okay, I'm feeling myself. I sit on the couch, but I'm doing this. I'm approaching this shit all wrong because I don't have all the information. So I'm acting like a regular guy trying to pick up a regular girl or two. You know what I mean? Like, and then your brother looked at me. Him and Terry DeHale was a kid. Said, come here, me up. I said, come on. They said, what the hell are you doing? I said, no, I'm talking to him. Blah blah blah. He was like, you're doing too much. I was like, what do you mean? He said, nigga, those are porn stars. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, they was too poor. And I swear to you, about 5 to 6 months after that day, watching porn, I see I felt like the biggest loser in the world, but for whatever reason, I lived 5 years in LA. Whatever reason, man, porn stars, they're attracted to me. I don't get me wrong. I am not built for that shit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. That's a whole different beast. A whole
I'm not
different
built for
beast.
that.
You know what I
Anyway,
mean?
but yeah, I listen. I think we've done our job today. In closing to the people, you have to stay motivated. To go all the
Yes.
way back to the beginning of the show, I put these people on the show for a reason to show people that I'm seeing here people that's doing things during a time that, by all right, should shut us all down. You
Exactly.
don't have to shut down. You can still go forward. You can still do what you got to do. Watch your procrastination level. If you can see it and recognize it, you absolutely can change it. You
No
know,
question.
Nika said it herself. It took for somebody to tell me, but hey, to each his own. I just think that we can all be better and come out on the other side of this better than we went in it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's what it's all about. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
sir. I
Thank you, my
agree with
brother.
you.
Appreciate you, Beth.
Yes,
Ladies and
sir.
gentlemen, my co-host Amir Silly. I've been your boy Talon Harris. Until next Monday, stay motivated, my friends.